on Photography is a series of conversations with contemporary image makers, critics, gallery directors, and theoreticians. I'd like to welcome you all to VASA on Photography series. It's a series of interviews, conversations with photographers, filmmakers, theoreticians, and artists. Today we have with us Jerzy Gawel from Crakow, Poland. Jerzy comes to us to the visual arts through the eyes of science. He earned his PhD in mining and metallurgy. He is currently living in Crakow, where he is co-director of the Crakow School of Art and Fashion Design. His work in the visual arts centers on gum prints, a technique developed in the mid-1800s. So, Jerzy, welcome. Good to have you with us.
I'm so happy to be with you.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about your transition coming out of science and chemistry and metallurgy into the visual arts?
Yes. At 1990, I just came back from Grenoble. I was teaching the physical chemistry for 1 year. I was maître de conférence. It's a high position, quite high position in France. But I came back and I realized that everything is changing in Poland during this transition time from communism to capitalism, and I decided to change my life completely.
Okay, that was the move to the visual arts. Did you start your school then, or what happened?
Yeah, we organized, we founded with my wife a modeling agency. We started to do fashion shows. I started to take pictures of models, and I will be a commercial photographer for several years. And now I'm slightly bored with all this cliche connected with the society, and I moved. I switched into gum printing.
Okay. Well, maybe we can start off by you sharing some of your work with us. And
yeah, right now, sharing is caring, as my grandson say. Now you see the picture, big picture?
Yes, we have it. We have it.
Yeah. So when you prepare a typical gum print, you need a big negative. You use sunlight or ultraviolet light to make a print. You just mix three things. Gum arabicum solution, a salt, chromium salt solution, and pigment. And then you get something what can survive over 3,000 years, as proved by Egyptian manuscripts. From one negative, you can get several versions of the same picture, like you see here. You can use slightly different pigments apart from soot black, just to soften the picture. And here you can see the center of Crakow with the intervention of the final touch with acrylic paint. Here is a funny picture, escape from the bar, I call it, yeah. Because I run 2 classes. I teach nude and I teach gum printing. It's a title, it's the first picture of my last exhibition before coronavirus. I'm so happy that I had the possibility to exhibit. Wawel, the castle, the big castle of Crakow. Again, nude. I usually combine negative with positive, and I almost, the intervention of Photoshop is close to null. It's almost nothing. Yeah? Again, two pictures different. And again, three versions of the same picture. Second and the third one. And you could see here how you could play with the light, with pigments, what tells you your taste in the very moment. I could show you also some fashion pictures from my portfolio. It's not the gum print, but if you have any more questions about the gum printing, the process, and
yes, I'd like to ask you, what interests you about the gum print over silver prints?
The advantage is that the gum print has a bigger, longer durability. It proved on the Egyptian manuscripts that just a mixture of pigment and gum arabicum could survive, could keep the picture vivid and clear throughout thousands of years. More or less, moreover, there is another thing, that the picture you get is like a painting. It's painting-like, yeah? And you can play with negative, covering part of negative, or using stronger exposure, or paint with the different mixture of these two gum solution and chromium solution. When you give more chromium solution, you fill in details in highlights. When you want to make your picture stronger, black and white, like Xerox copy, you add more pigment and gum solution. And you make several layers on one print. So one print, it takes 3 days, at least 3 days to produce.
And your subject matter, like you said, you like working with nudes, you like photographing that and making your prints off it. What are you drawing from classical photography or painting, classical painting? Where does your inspiration come from for these images?
In fact, not. I started to do this, and in the progress of my practice, I developed. I think I developed my personal style in gum printing, whereas I didn't develop my style in fashion photography, because being a higher hand. When you are a higher hand, you just work for somebody else. You have to do what you are told, more or less. Yeah. So and what is the fashion of fashion photography? Because we have fashion in fashion, and we have also fashion in advertisement. So you have to follow the trends. And I'm not obliged to follow any trend when I'm quite free doing my gum prints.
Okay. Well, you've been talking about your commercial photography. You said earlier you had a portfolio that you could show us. So let's take a look at your.
Yeah, I'm eager to show you. Wait a second.
There we go. Okay, good.
Here we go. So, fashion photographer right now is something different than 50 years ago. To be a fashion photographer, you need to have, first of all, goodwill, yeah, and then after some years you get some skills. Then you get a position in the society, and you could accomplish that goal and get a name. I didn't get a name. I had a good position, and I was hired by bigger and smaller companies, even the biggest companies in Poland and in Italy. Organizing a fashion show, organizing a fashion shooting, you need a makeup artist to make when you are in a good position when you photograph strange things. But when you photograph a normal stuff, you have to add something to it to make it interesting. You need a hairdresser and a stylist. You need an assistant and the entire staff, yeah, or even catering because the shooting takes so many hours. And the manager. The manager is important. He tells you what to do. This is from a calendar, May 2011. I was supposed to take photographs of Polish volleyball players, masters of the world. So for each picture you need an idea to make it interesting. Yeah, this was a company for Vistula. Vistula is men's fashion, the biggest factory in Poland. Once upon a time, I was in Warsaw walking around, and I saw my picture, and I made a documentary. This is very brave of me because fish eye almost nobody uses for fashion photography. I had personally 8 billboards, but here in my portfolio I have only 2 somehow. And this billboard brought me a lot of money because the company was not supposed to make a billboard out according to the contract, to make a billboard, to use this picture for the billboard. Another picture of the ad, yeah. And this is a kind of picture you like just after the fashion session. a model is waiting for a taxi, resting. And let me tell you how to make from a dull fashion photography something strange, something more interesting, how to get more interesting picture. You cannot change too much model and clothes. You can change the background. So I was thinking what to do with the background, surrealistic. Tree trunk is never blue, it's brown, yeah, usually. So I painted trees blue and asked stylists to get blue elements or outfit and put a blue foil in front of my lens, in front of my camera. Of course, with a hole in the middle, and Bob's your uncle, yeah? Here you have pictures I took with these painted trees. And here you have red version, and now picture slightly too big. Yeah, so another session for art and night vision, painted with the light. This was a very interesting session because I had a very noisy background. To avoid it, I came during the night and painted with the light, and this picture Photoshop is used just to stick 3 or 4, I don't remember, pictures together. And the same with this lady standing in front of a beautiful car. Another session, and this is a session for National Museum in Crakow. There was a huge exhibition of 70 years of Polish design, but not fashion design, but design of furnitures and things and other things. So we were asked to make a small staffage with models and interesting clothes to make this exhibition more interesting. Yeah. And here is a session under the title Houston, we have no problems. Continue. Some pictures I'm showing you are just pictures, but usually all the pictures I have in the printed version. As a fashion photographer, you need to have not good pictures, but tear sheets. When you have tear sheets from magazines, that means that you can sell your work further. Yeah? These are nude photography, completely different style. It's not commercial, it's just, then I take this, sometimes I take these nude models and convert it into gum printing. Just jumping out. A model playing accordion. I take pictures for, I give pictures for promotion of Crakow Fashion Week, and I am in front of my picture. another technique. This is from Košice Fashion Week from Slovakia. I could show you several pictures of my students, but it doesn't make any sense. Although, in my opinion, being a photographer, you are proud of your pictures, but being a teacher, you should be proud of your students' work. But my students are working all over the world, and some of them are publishing, for instance, in Vogue Australia without going to Australia.
It's too bad. They should be able to go to Australia. You know, what I'm seeing is your commitment to kind of more aesthetics and art photography through your gum prints, and then you balance that with your commercial work. There's a certain energy that comes out of both, okay? And so this comes to your school, this kind of energy and balance between art and commercial, which is kind of interesting. But I'd like to move on to talking a little bit about photography in Crakow, and maybe photography in general in Poland from your perspective. There's a lot of photo festivals that occur. Crakow has one, every 2 years, I believe, a month of photography.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on photography and what's happening in Poland?
I keep a certain line running this school. And not every teacher in our team follows this line. Okay. And I have, it is like it is, so I have to put up with the situation, and I appreciate and I approve different opinions. But I'm going to tell you my opinion. In my opinion, photography right now, people don't value beautiful pictures because they think they are easy to catch. But it's not. A perfect picture is not easy to be produced, one thing. And another thing, that sometimes people exhibit pictures that doesn't tell you anything. The author must tell you so much with his words, and the picture itself is not talking to you, because the picture should talk to your eyes, yeah, and not to your ears. Sometimes I could see meaningless pictures, so pictures that they don't talk to me, and there is a certain arrogance of being a modern photographer. Young people say, I don't care for a viewer. I care, it's all about myself. What I feel. Okay, you can tell me what you feel, but when you are a writer, put it down. When you are an actor, talk to me, but when you are a photographer, talk to my eyes. A pretty old-fashioned attitude, yeah? What do you think?
Well, I mean, a lot of times what I come across in what I do is a lot of photography resides or depends upon the written text or the caption, okay? It's not the image. And usually people, I find, work with maybe one image, but not a development of a vision or persistence of a vision for a particular approach, right? Like, a lot of documentary photographers I'm looking for the commitment to what they're doing. What are your pictures about? What are you about? You know, how do you go about photographing this or that? If you're working with conceptual work, what's the idea, right? What's the idea? Where does it emerge out of, right? So I think I would agree with you that first of all, photography is about the perception, the eyes, and anything else is just extra. If you really need to have the written text, you know, there's a question about photography telling a story. I don't believe photography telling a story.
I changed myself like 10 years ago as far criticizing is concerned. So I criticized, just as I told you, I criticize this situation right now in general, in photography in general. But looking at the particular exhibition, I never criticize because it could be I don't understand something. I don't understand something. And it's one thing. And another thing is that after 10 or 15 years, these pictures would be judged by other people, but the next generation, and the next generation could discover these dull pictures as very interesting and let's say fundamental.
Okay, yeah. I mean, time is the test for many things, and also how well known or famous, quote, famous the photographer is. No matter what they show them or what people find of their work, is seen in a different light than, you know, somebody who's not known. And I find that interesting.
You know, just yesterday, I was teaching gum printing for my students, and one of the students asked me about these two solutions, what to do with them. And I showed them, I think like 2 times, yeah, what to do with them, how to mix them. And mix them with the same proportions. And she said, I don't remember. You don't remember? I don't remember. So right now, people don't keep in mind unnecessary information, because information is always available from your phone. Yeah? Or you ask somebody, so they just don't care. And it would be stupid for a teacher not to notice that these people don't like to remember too much. So you have to adjust your means to the situation. Yeah. Otherwise, they will not catch anything.
Well, since you brought up teaching of photography, we have a few minutes left before Zoom ends our meeting. What do you think is important to teach in photography? I know there's a technical stuff you need to make the image, and that's changing now drastically, you know. But what do you think is important to teach the student?
The most important thing is to ask him a general question, a fundamental question. Question number 1. They should ask themselves, what is it for? Why I'm taking this picture? Why? During our lessons is very simple, because your teacher is asking you. The teacher gives you a subject, but when they should look ahead. When they finish our school, they should always ask themselves why. And after answering this question, you can ask yourself what measures should I take? What camera should I use? What lighting should I use? What model should I engage? Or perhaps do it without any model. So this question should be, to start from the very first question, should be a habit for every of my graduates.
Okay. Well, with that note, I think we have to bring closure to this. I do want to thank you for spending time with us, showing us your prints and also your portfolio, professional portfolio, and sharing some of your ideas. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be among all these important people in photography of the 21st century.
Okay.
Thank you.
And if the viewer of this finds themselves in Crakow sometime, they should actually look you up at your school and actually see the school. It's a fantastic place. Okay. Take care, Jerzy. Ciao. Do widzenia.
Do widzenia w Krakowie albo we Wiedniu.
Ciao.